You're watching NFT Talk Photography with Brick Astley. If you like this video and you want to see more, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and comment below. Make sure to tweet this video out and follow ExchangeArt and Brick Astley on the Twitters and Instagram. GM, welcome to NFT Talk Photography. I'm your host, Brick Astley. The purpose of this talk show is to highlight one-of-one photography on ExchangeArt and to talk photography NFTs on Solana. Today's guests are coming off an incredible Genesis auction with the ExchangeArt Photo Collective. Welcome GoPensy Prep and ExchangeArt. We appreciate your time here and to talk about the collective.
Thanks for having us, Brick.
Yeah, thank you for having us. This is exciting.
So this is the first auction, first collective of any kind of photography that I've ever heard of on the Solana blockchain, let alone any other blockchains. I don't know of any other photography collectives coming together, especially with swiftness that you pulled this together. It's been kicked around the Twitter sphere so much that everybody's just been buzzing about how swift you pulled this together. Can you talk to us a little bit about the photo collective? I'll pull it up here on the screen share.
Yes, so we got placed into a photography group, a Twitter group. I don't know who started it, probably A2K or Milst. It was basically photographers that were on Exchange got placed into a, hey, you guys are like-minded, here's a place for you to talk shop. And someone had mentioned the idea of doing a group show. And I was thinking like, well, this is going to be one of those situations where like, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. So, but I also am pretty busy with a lot of other projects. So kind of threw S-Jane here under the bus and was like, oh, S-Jane can be our leader. Well, you know, I bet she would love to be the person that runs a group show. And I was kind of joking, but luckily she took it and ran with it. And that was kind of the genesis of it was I pulled her aside and was kind of like, hey, you know, if you don't want to do this, let me know, I'll handle it, but it'd be cool to have some help. And luckily, it seems like we have real comparable skill sets and it came together pretty seamlessly, so.
Yeah, no, it definitely worked out. You know, unfortunately for me, I had a teacher in high school who instilled in me this idea of like, if you think someone should do that, hey, you're someone. And so, you know, it was a great idea. I have some experience with putting shows together and things like that. And so, you know, I just figured I could do it. I could let somebody else do it, but, you know, then I might be frustrated with how it comes out. And if I want to have a say in that, I got to do it, you know, be a part of it. And so, yeah, but Dave and I did have really compatible skill sets. You know, I think that our skills, like where I start to weaken, he's really strong. And so we were able to kind of get this really nice flow together. And, you know, we were on the same page for most of the time and it really worked out.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, we'll do this thing and then we'll get the artists together and we'll put together a timeline and we'll probably get this out in a couple months, right? And that's what I was thinking. And we hadn't really talked about it. And Sam was like, yeah, 2 weeks, Valentine's Day weekend, that's when we're doing it. We're doing it in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Well, all right, there's a super aggressive timeline. Let's see if we can make it work. And luckily we did with, there were no problems. The only problem really was we had to, actually no, I mean, somebody sent us a wrong wallet address and that was it. We solved that in like 5 minutes. So seriously, no problem. It was amazing how easy the photographers made it, which is impressive because they're spread all over the planet. It's 5 different continents represented, everything from the US to Argentina to the UK to Portugal to Pakistan, and everyone was super helpful. So they made it really easy.
Yeah, no, it was a dream working with this group of people. So I do have some experience in the field, and it was a bit of an ambitious timeline, but something that I felt when I decided that was that I had been hearing and feeling a lot of hunger for some action going on. January was a really hard month in the crypto market in general. You know, we were feeling pretty low. People were kind of bummed on, you know, I haven't sold anything in a while and like we're hungry to do something. And we have a lot of really talented people in that chat who are active. And I figured, we have the momentum now. ExchangeArt just dropped their auctions. And, we just set a bunch of things. We gave clear deadlines. If you want to participate, it's open. Deadline is by here. This is whatever. And everybody just rose to the occasion. They were extremely professional and got everything to us, right away. And it was cool.
Yeah, it was nice to have a win. We were like, I think the weekend prior, there was a couple really bad rugs, and the market's been low. I think morale, generally speaking, in the space was a little low. So it was nice to have a big group win.
It was also a chance for us too to kind of come together. Like, we're very active together in that group message that was mentioned, but it kind of almost feels like sometimes we're just, retweeting other people's things or hyping each other up. And I kind of wanted to do something that felt a little bit more inclusive, because I think that we do have a lot of potential. And one of the great things about Web3 is we can build communities and build what we want to see. So it was a way that we could kind of bring everybody together. We have some artists who've had a lot of success in the space. We have some artists that are starting out. So we were able to present everybody on this even playing field. We all voted on a charity that we wanted to support in a way to give back, and it was a way to bring everybody up at the same time.
In what ways do you think you've grown from this experience?
Well, I'm just amazed at this thing that we put together. It kind of feels like we threw it together with paper mache and duct tape a little bit, but it worked and people liked it. And, there was a great response both from within the community and from other people asking how they can get involved. And one of the things that I think that I really appreciated is like how much like you can be the change and build the communities you want to see and help, like if I want I want art friends, I want people I can do cool things with. I want to raise money for causes I like. And, I can't do it on my own, but I can do it with all these people. And so, that for me was just kind of solidifying my ability, and validating for me that, hey, like I have a knack for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have a little bit of background with in leadership positions, and this was a different avenue of leadership, I think. And you're only as good as your team, and our team was fantastic. So, and this is the first time that I had operated in a group capacity on Web3. So clearly I'd learned like, well, okay, this is not only possible, but here are kind of, any blind spots that we identified, I think were things that were not missteps for this show, but things that like, oh, it would be easier in the future if we did this, or, X, Y, or Z. There was a lot of lessons learned, but not from mistakes, I would say. Just things that maybe we hadn't thought of, or a product of such an aggressive timeline. So
the growing pains to go along with such a budding project that you got going on.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the collection. How did you curate the artists? You've got 22 photographers. Was it just, I know you said you had some newer photographers, some more experienced photographers. Talk to me a little bit about the curation process. It seems like it can be pretty hectic having to corral everybody.
That's what we thought going into it. I definitely told Sam that in the beginning, like, hey, this is going to be herding cats. Like, there's no way it's not going to be that, right? It wasn't, weirdly, thankfully. But the curation process was that there wasn't a curation process. If you were in that group and you wanted to be involved, then you were in. A couple of the artists who are particularly interesting, I think, are Dace James and Addie Manning. You've got her piece up right there, the chemical piece. Addie in particular is a very good friend of mine who 3 weeks ago had no idea how crypto in general worked or how NFTs in particular worked. She's a super talented photographer. She works with Rick Steve. She's worked with Ralph Lauren, with Vogue. She does a lot of fashion photography, just crazy talented. And I knew that she was going to be successful in this space. And I kept bugging her, like, hey, stop putting this off. This space moves way faster than you're used to. Like, just install Discord and figure that out. And then let's have a thing. And I walked her through the entire process. And I'm really glad that she got to be part of this and to see the success. And I kept telling her, like, hey, it's not just about an opportunity for you to show your photography in a venue outside of one that you're used to. There's also this community that comes along with it that are, you know, genuinely positive and genuinely here to see you succeed and to build you up and lift you up with them. And I want you to be part of that as well. So it was really cool to have her not only be part of the show, but to have the show be so successful and to see that like firsthand. So I got to be like, see, I told you this is the thing that I've been telling you about. And Dace James is another one. I think his photo's at the bottom. He's another really good friend of mine. Same thing, had a passing interest, that piece, had a passing interest in crypto and didn't know anything about it. So I was able to bring him from not knowing anything to being part of a very successful show and rubbing elbows with photographers like Jive and Goku, who are well-established in multi-chain. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't there was no curation process or anything like that. It was just, hey, we're doing this thing. If you guys want to go, jump on board.
You told them to dive in the deep end right off the bat. If it's been in like what, 3 weeks.
Pretty much.
Like, no, this is such a beautiful collection. Go ahead.
One of the things that was a very active choice by Dave and I is that we were, you know, kind of the leaders, group leaders are running the show, but it wasn't our show, it was everybody's show. And so all of the decisions that had to be made from, you know, what the show was going to be called, what the theme of the show was going to be, what our group was going to be called, that was all group decision making. We were just kind of involved to keep the ball rolling. But particularly for this show, and since we were asking everybody to be involved and be a part of this on such an aggressive timeline, we wanted, you know, to really leave it up to photographers to interpret the theme and bring us what they had.
Yeah, there was kind of some ad hoc organic curation with the pieces themselves. A lot of the photographers would say, hey, you know, here are the 3 pieces that I'm thinking about. What do you guys think? So we were able to kind of do a little critique for each other and help each other bring their best piece to the collection.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the auction? It was a 24-hour auction extension. Tell me about the experience of after collecting, like the photographers getting it all set, and then it's auction day. What do those feels like?
That was exciting. That was really exciting. And then it was so funny because, you know, I woke up like the day before we had finally minted the collection. I'm on the East Coast, Dave's on West Coast time, Arizona time. I don't know. Yeah, so I started messaging him like bright and early. I'm like, it's minting day. And then when the auction actually came out, you know, I was like pacing myself and watching the clock every 15 minutes to see, you know, when we opened. And then I kind of had this funny rush of like, oh my God, it's going to be up for the next 24 hours. What am I going to do for the next 24 hours? But, you know, it was really great because we actually got a bid pretty early on, which was really exciting. We were still on a space together. The whole collective community got in. Brick opened up a space for us, which was awesome. So we got to kind of hang out and celebrate together. But then that was my goal. Like, I just wanted to see if we could even pull this off and do it. And once we hit the bid, you know, I think that's where the limits of our expectations were. And then Dave, you want to talk?
Yeah, I think we all would have been totally happy and it would have been a win with just the reserve, right? That by itself, we would have been like, yes, we did it. That was awesome. So the first bid came in and that was super rad. I've done a bunch of auctions with my Simple Monster Party project at this point. So I kind of have tempered expectations for the way auctions work. Auctions are fun because you kick it off, you get that initial bid right off the bat, and then you get to terrorize yourself for the next 23 hours, wondering if you're a failure as an artist, and then have the end phase kick in and the bidding war start. And you're like, oh, okay, it's good. So I had a little bit of tempered expectation. I was like, all right, I'm not going to pay super close attention to it. Like I knew there were some big names that were interested in it. I had spoke to Saul Big Brain's curator about it. I knew A2K was putting the word out. So I think I had more tempered expectations. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look. I was on that space when the initial bid came in. Awesome, we got that. We met our internal goal. And now I'm just gonna wait until tomorrow. So luckily I was out traveling with my wife at the time. So I kind of had a built-in reason to like not pay attention to it. But yeah, it was awesome. My wife asked me, where do you want it to go? You know what I mean? I'm like, and I told her, well, we already met our expectation, but I think it would be cool if we doubled reserve. That would be neat. And then we did, not only doubled reserve, but then, 10 past that as well. So auction was definitely super fun. It was super cool that we had so many spaces that we could all kind of experience it together. So
it's pretty cool to have that bonding moment cross globally, like being in all the different time zones with all the different artists in the different continents, being able to celebrate this win together. And it was Mills who had the first bid and had the winning bid of 56.10 Soul. Congratulations. Are definitely in order for you two. It's definitely a win and a feather in your caps because you were able to pull it together on such an aggressive timeline. Tell me, how did you settle on the theme red?
Like Sam had said, we put it to a vote. Say, hey, want to, or no, we voted on the name. The theme was, I think that was one of the only things we actually presented to them. Like, hey, we want a theme. We decided kind of on red because it's simple enough, but gives them enough canvas to work with. Or am I misremembering?
Well, that actually came out of the chat. So, having some experience with this and just knowing the diversity that we have within our group, we have a lot of strong photographers in their respective styles, but it's kind of hard for a viewer to come into the space and look at, what we think is our favorite if there's not something to help bring them, bring all of the images together. And so I kind of threw that idea out. I was just like, hey, let's, create a theme just so it kind of makes a little bit of sense. And then, from there, someone in the group said, why don't we do colors? That's, super easy, super general. And somebody else said red, and a bunch of people started posting like, oh, I have this one I'd love to put. And then we left it for, I think, like a day or two, and then was like, okay, it's red now.
Yeah, that was enough. Like I said, it was like the center of anybody's Venn diagram with the, how diversified we've got. Like you can see right there that we have portraiture photographers, drone photographers. I do Nightscape stuff. It was like, I don't know if there's a type of photography, maybe sports photography that we didn't hit with this, you know what I mean? So we needed something that was interesting, that could be a unifying through line, and that everyone, regardless of the type of photographer, that they could work with. And I think we nailed that. So
let's take a moment. I want to talk about each of your pieces, and then we'll talk about the future of the collective. Let's go. So here, let's talk about yours real quick, Dave, since we're on it.
Yeah. So little background on me. My name is Dave. Probably should have done the intros in the beginning, but my name is Dave. I also go by GoPensy Prep. You'll see that as my artist handle. All my photography goes under that, and that's in addition to my personal project, Simple Monster Party, which I'm the artist for. But this is a pretty quintessential GoPensy Prep photography piece right here. Most of what I do is Nightscape photography. I grew up in the American Southwest in a really small town, population like 2,500 to 3,000, something like that, away from all the big cities. And it always weirded me out to think about what was going on out in the desert outside of our town, because it was this, little island of civilization surrounded just miles and miles of open desert. And it's far enough away from the cities that you can see all the stars, and the moon is super clear and it's super bright. And I don't know. I just, as a kid, I was like, it can't just be animals out there moving around at night. Like something has to be happening out there. What is it? And that's kind of a through line of my Nightscape photography, that this is what happens out there at night. These are the sort of signals and transmissions and things that are occurring that maybe we're just not calibrated to receive, or we're not ready for, or whatnot. So yeah, I want my photography to be a little uncomfortable. Actually, I want people to look at it and be as fascinated as they are kind of repulsed. Like, that looks super interesting, but also like I fundamentally genetically feel like I should not be witnessing what's happening right here. I think I captured it pretty well with this one. This was actually a long exposure drone shot. And what I had done was, I have some lights that I've kind of rigged to my drone, and I just cut out some red gels and taped them over the lights so I could get the red effect. My wife and I were out driving around in the desert looking for a good spot. And I found, actually, if you were able to turn this photo around and see what was behind it, that was the thing that initially grabbed my attention. And I was like, oh, cool, that's where I'm going to shoot. So we pulled the car in, and I turned the car around and parked it, and then saw those two telephone poles. And I was like, oh, wait, that's it. You know, I can fly the drone between those telephone poles, get the depth between them. The bushes are always great for splashing the light off of. It was a perfect moon that night. A lot of people assume that I want to go out during a full moon when I do this kind of stuff. But that's not the case. A full moon, it blows out too much of the desert, and you get like a weird warm, even though it's silver moonlight, you get like a warm quasi daytime look. It just doesn't look good. I've come to find out that like a half moon with, I wish there had been a little bit of cloud coverage that night to act as a little bit of diffuser. But yeah, it came together really well. I actually did very little post editing to this photo, so it came out the camera looking very similar to what you see there.
Can you tell? Excellent. I love the story behind it. I love, you know, what is going on out there. I love that kind of like uneasy, questioning kind of feel vibe to it. Definitely get that sense. I appreciate you sharing that. And now, Jane, I'm gonna pull up your photo.
I also love that story. You know, there's something really special about the feeling of you know, going out knowing you're gonna shoot a photo, but not really quite knowing what you're looking for until you find it and you're like, that's it. That's what it's gonna work.
Yeah, a lot of Nightscape photo, it's like you can't plan it. You have to find the place for it. So
what are some of the difficulties with doing that?
Sometimes, I mean, you're out at night, late at night, doing something that by any definition looks fucking shady. So like, you have to like be cognizant of what's around you and stuff, because people might be like, yo, what are you doing? You know, so there's that. There's, you know, a bunch of limitations of shooting at night just by itself. You know, it's like it's hard to get your focus racked in super sharp. It's hard to get your light meter exactly where you want it. And then shooting with the drone turns it into, no pun intended, but like a moving target with your light meter, because you have to set your camera up this way, but then you have to dial it in to where the light is going to be like when the drone comes through the frame. So you have to be set to very underexposed, because when the light comes through, then you want it to hit the exposure that you want at that point. So it's a lot of trial and error. So
Excellent. Thank you. So SJ, Little Bird, tell me a little bit about this. You're a drone photographer, your backstory a little bit, and how Little Bird came to be.
All right, so I'm Sam, but I work under Jane. I'm also a mutt photographer. I shoot a lot of everything. I do portraits, I do like fun, crazy stuff. I do drone stuff, I do landscapes. But the last few years, I've really been focusing on my drone photography. And so this work is actually something that's really special to me. It's called Little Bird, and in there you can see this figure, this little bird-like figure dancing across the snow. And for me, the piece speaks a lot about joy and just play and, you know, existing in the moment. And this piece is incredibly special to me because the person in the frame is actually my sister. My sister was unfortunate enough to pull one of those, a card for one of those like diseases that they don't know what it is, but there's definitely something going on. And her health through the years for like the last 15 years has been up and down. We're very close in age, we're only a year and a half apart. So, I've been right there with her, whether it's she can't walk on her own, she has to use a wheelchair, or if she has to, use a walker or different things. But I really admire her tenacity, and not just because she's my sister, but she's never, even though she's got this awful thing she's saddled with and that has to deal with all the time, she never really lets it stop her. If Jessie wants to do something, she's gonna do it. And so it's really incredible. And so this was taken during a time where her health was much better, and she had come up to stay with me for my apartment for a couple of days, and we were just like, hey, let's go out, like it's nice out, let's go make some art and play with the drone. And we didn't really have a setup, we tossed her in this red dress, just figured it would pop nice against the snow, and didn't have a plan, didn't, that was just kind of what she did. She started running around and twirling, and so for me it captures that moment of her freedom despite some of her limitations.
It's a really
behind
special.
control, just like spin.
Oh no, that's her.
Okay.
I call her Woozle because she's one of those people that's like kind of like Jack Sparrow all the time in real life.
It must be very special to be able to also share this win with your sister in that aspect of her being part of the collective in this way.
Yeah, I would like to onboard her. She's got some stuff. She's an incredibly talented artist, though. She's not a photographer, but she does. She can draw, she can paint, she does this crazy collage work. I actually have her art hanging up all around my house. But yeah, once she has a little bit more room on her plate, I'm going to get her on here with us.
I think we'd love to have her here at ExchangeArt. Definitely a welcome addition. So let's talk about now the future. What do you have planned for the ExchangeArt Photo Collective? I see that we do have the new Twitter put together. So make sure to hit that follow button, and then make sure to turn on them notifications. Tell us a little more.
Yeah, so the future is that there isn't anything planned currently.
We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, the current plan right now is for us to have a little bit of a kind of postmortem, a roundtable with the group, probably tomorrow, to kind of figure out what direction we want to go in. We didn't plan to do so when we started this, but we essentially accidentally made a photography DAO, right? Like we're hitting all the beats here with it, and it would be silly not to move forward with that if we can continue to do shows that, lift up artists, especially artists like Addie and Dace, who had no experience with the space beforehand. If we can continue to lift them up, that would be awesome, because one, that's awesome, and two, that's one of the kind of central tenets of Exchange.art, is opening that door for new artists to find their space and thrive. So yeah, if we can continue to do that, then absolutely, it'd be silly not to. In terms of what we're going to do going forward, that's, like I said, the discussion is forthcoming. So
we have a couple of ideas that I think that we're stuck on. Like, I think that we want to keep these big auction type shows to something quarterly. We want to make it special. We'll choose a different theme, a different charity to support every time. I think that's probably about the only firm decision we have so far. But we definitely do want to keep doing these shows. I think that for me, like, it shows that, for new people coming in and looking at what NFTs are so much more than the profile picture projects that people typically think of, if you're not involved in the space, and then it's also a way to really help, new artists get exposure, to be able to elevate the community and bring people together to, do things greater than we are individually.
Yeah, we've tossed around a couple ideas. I'd like to do a film show. I don't have any experience shooting film, and I know we have some really strong film shooters in the group. I think that would be cool, but that's just an idea. So we'll see going forward. I think we had quite a few people. I know a bunch reached out to Sam, and I had a few reach out to me, photographers that weren't involved, that were interested. So I don't think there's going to be a shortage of people to showcase. I think one of the things going forward we're probably going to try and do is pare down the show sizes. 22 was kind of a lot. We made it work awesome. Obviously, you know, it was really good. But I think a little more focus on the individuals involved would probably be better. But again, nothing's set in stone. So
yeah, but we have a lot to talk about, and I'm really excited. And you know, I'm excited for us to grow as well, because our diversity is where our strength comes. I was hesitant on some of the tech stuff, and Dave was able to fill that in right there, you know. So the more we work together, the more we can accomplish. And I'm excited to see what we come up with.
we're gonna do you, Brick, into being one of the helpers here. It'll be the three of us talking about the show next time. So
He's already got the keys to the Twitter.
there we go.
I look forward to talking more and contributing more, and being a part of the photo collective as well. If they want to if anyone wants to get in touch or follow you for your personal projects, they can follow you at GoPensy Prep, correct?
Yep. At GoPensyPrep _, that's me, or Simple Monster Party. That's also me. So
tell me what you have coming. I think we have it.
Yep, right there. That'll be, I don't think I have the times there, but this Thursday, 2200 UTC, I'll be doing the auction for that piece right there. That's part of my invitations collection. So if you click on actually that link right there, it'll take you to the collection itself. That's a small collection. This will be the fourth piece that's part of it. And the story behind that one is trying to capture the kind of feeling of this entity in a person's life who is maybe good, maybe bad. That's kind of following them through the beats. So that's the latest one for that piece. But yeah, Thursday I'll be auctioning that. I'll have the details on my Twitter today. So
there we go. Invitations. There's still a piece available. Make sure you go pick that up. 1.5. It won't be that very long. Most excellent. All right, S. Jane, they can follow you here. Do you have anything coming up for personal projects?
So I've been working a lot on promoting my earth paintings. I still have the group show pinned, so. But I do have another collection that I'm going to be dropping either at the end of this week or early next week of some kind of creepy vibe black and white stuff I've been working on. I have a whole body of work that I'm excited and trying to taper myself down, you know, and pace myself with bringing to the blockchain. And so I've been putting a lot of thought into how these images are working together and sorting each other. I like building collections, if you couldn't tell. So that's something to be on the lookout for. It's also going to be priced a little bit lower than most of my normal work, so there's that too.
Some nice entry level pricings for them. Well, we look forward to both your collections coming out and upcoming drops. I personally am looking forward to hyping them up as well. I'll be on the Twitterverse gassing y'all up as well. I do thank you for coming on to the show, NFTalk Photography with ExchangeArt. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on a successful collective launch. Really bright future ahead, and I look forward to talking more.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Brick.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And for anybody who's interested, reach out. We're all very friendly. Come join us. You know, if you're a photographer and you're on Exchange, come join us. Yeah, either of our Twitters, the Exchange Twitter, however you can get a hold of us, reach out if you're interested. Thank you so much. With that being said, take care of yourself, take care of others, take care of Mother Earth. Make sure to pick up a little bit of trash and make sure to get a little sunshine and drink your water. Always, always GM.